start Raw this week with the recap from Fastlane and Goldberg winning the WWE Universal Championship. And then we're also shown Goldberg bumping last week when Brock Lesnar hit him with the F5. And bloody hell, well done Michael Cole, you've mentioned that we're on Monday Night Raw before advertising WrestleMania. At least you got your priorities right on that lot this week. This obviously leads us to Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman coming out. Brock Lesnar's well amused at the split crowd, and Paul Heyman is sassy as fuck tonight, skipping all over the place. He does a quality job with crowd control, and he does an even better job selling the match because I actually gave a shit for 5 minutes. In general, nah, Goldberg versus Lesnar once again can go and fuck itself, especially as a main event for the championship. We then head to Stephanie McMahon's office with Mick Foley. Stephanie tries to be nice and professional and she apologises if things got out of hand a week or so ago. She says that she's trying to help Foley grow and nurture him and develop him professionally and personally. Foley says he sees where she's coming from and says he's on board. So then Steph mentions that he has to sack one person tonight to cut the dead weight. The divas get their jobber entrances. Happy National Vagina Month, ladies. With a really fast match between Sasha Banks and Dana Brooke. And then after the match we get a little visit from our friend. Hey up, that were a bit shit, wasn't it? Well, just fuck off, will ya? And then Dana Brooke lamps her and sticks up for herself. Again, I'm sure they did this a few months ago before she disappeared back under the bloody stairs cupboard. I'm hoping she's going to go and rejoin the side of Emma. Seeing as we're getting ever so close to WrestleMania, we've got the Warrior Award announcement, which will also happen at the Hall of Fame. Later on tonight we've got a match between Chris Jericho and Sami Zayn against Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. And then Roman Reigns will address what happened last week with The Undertaker. Cruiserweight action now with TJ Perkins teaming up with Akira Tozawa against the Brian Kendrick and Tony Nese. It was a decent match, it wasn't as short as the usual 205 Live/Cruiserweight matches, and we finished with Tony Nese rolling up TJ Perkins with a handful of tights. It's good showing. Later on tonight we've got the Tag Team Championships #1 contenders match between Cesaro and Enzo and Big Kaz. Since we're on the subject of the Tag Team Championships, here's the champs with Charles the Dwarf backstage. And the Good Brothers grumble that folk aren't focused on them, even though they're the champions, so they decide to take matters into their own hands and make some noise themselves. Before we get into a match pitting Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe against Chris Jericho and Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens cuts yet another spotlit promo. It's actually to show off his nice t-shirt, I'm thinking, that's quite good. After Owens twists what happens and says Chris Jericho was just a leech that used him and fed off him, instead of it being he that turned on Jericho, he mentions that he's looking forward to the WrestleMania match, and then he progresses forward with his Scott Pilgrim impression. During the match, Kevin Owens ducks Chris Jericho as much as possible, but after the heels gain an underhanded advantage, the referee ends up disqualifying them when Kevin Owens and Joe just keep beating the shit out of Zayn. Jericho tries to save, but he gets beat down as well. I'm really liking this Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe grouping. I hope it sticks. We go back to Mick and Steph, and Foley says that he will pick somebody, even though it's going to be a very difficult decision. And then Nia, the bitch-fister Jax, appears. She's well pissed off that she's not in the title picture. Foley tries to calm her down, but Steph tells him to wind his neck in, and then she makes a match between Nia and Bayley later on tonight. An irritated Foley decides to take a walk to clear his head. While Foley's on his walk, Jinder Mahal appears and says that Rusev's the one that's been holding him back as of late, and all he needs is a chance to show how good he is. So Foley decides to make a match between Jinder and Roman Reigns later on tonight. And then we move on to a New Day segment where they're selling WrestleMania and that god-awful WWE/Jetsons abomination of a film. This segues into them interviewing The Big Show and talking about the DVD. And one last little surprise is that I've never ever thought I'd be happy to see or hear Titus O'Neil. He shows up and then pushes The Big Show because he wanted to be on the Jetsons film, and The Big Show doesn't take too kindly to being shoved by him. From one group of creatively stifled lads to another, we have Enzo and Kaz against Cesaro next. Enzo and Kaz obviously take 10 minutes to plug their shit before the match. I don't know what it is with Big Kaz, he's ridiculously robotic at the start of his promos, but then he always gets excited towards the end. I don't know if it's fear, or boredom, or just God knows. During the match, Gallows and Anderson appear and they jump Kaz and Sheamus who are fighting on the outside, so the referee just throws it out, and then Gallows and Anderson just muller everybody individually before buggering off. We're then shown a recap of Braun Strowman backing down from The Undertaker last week, with obviously the big dog Roman Reigns stepping up and then getting dropped. Backstage, Gallows and Anderson gloat about what they just did, Mick Foley stops him in the tracks, and he makes it a WrestleMania triple threat match for the Tag Team Championship, causing their plan to backfire. During the match between Jinder Mahal and Roman Reigns, The Undertaker's gong went off and it distracted Roman momentarily, but obviously Roman Reigns is way too strong for any of that shit, so he just gives Jinder 2 Superman punches for the win. After the match/adverts, Roman Reigns calls The Undertaker out, but he gets Shawn Michaels instead. Michaels warns Reigns that The Undertaker is in his head already, and if that's the case, he's got no chance at WrestleMania. Roman says that he's got it, everything's under control, Taker retired Shawn, so Roman's going to retire The Undertaker. And then as Reigns was leaving and stood at the top of the ramp, he looked back to Michaels. Before he had a chance to turn around, Braun Strowman just ploughed through him and sent him flying down and off the edge of the ramp. Like quite a nasty tumble, actually. The crowd enjoyed it too, you know, the good old thank you Strowman chant and HBK chants, while people were trying to attend to Roman and see if he was alright. No one in the crowd really fucking cared. Wop wop. Oh, we go back to Mick and Steph again. We get it, she's putting him in a pickle. Just, yeah, he doesn't want to do it. She's a bitch, he's a nice person, trying to do a shit thing. Move on. Though I'm excited for this. We've got a recap of Austin Aries returning to action after he smacked Neville around for a bit last week and then appeared on 205 Live. And now we're on to the actual match with Austin Aries, and that jacket's fantastic, but I'd prefer it if he had a cape. Capes are always better. But he obviously didn't need his cape of awesomeness, as it didn't take him long to hit Daivari with his rolling elbow for the win. I'm quite keen to see how much they use Aries in the future. Later on tonight we've got Bayley facing Nia the Bitch-Fisted Jax, and then we're shown the Emma promo, and that's the good one, not the Emmalina one. Hopefully she's coming back with quite a big push, because I really like this character, as I've mentioned before. It's pretty strange how we've gone from me just hating the sight of her to enjoying it again. Nothing much to report with Titus O'Neil and the Big Show. Titus didn't really stand a chance, and once again the crowd demanded a third chokeslam from the Big Show, with no KO punch. Since WWE are celebrating National Women's Month this month, WWE's loudest vagina, Byron Saxon, introduces the next video. No, I don't want to fight the bitch fister again. My stitches aren't even out from last time. Yeah, I'm not fucking sure what to suggest, really. Why don't you just give her a good old fucking cunt pant? Just prop her leg up, run at her, and fucking boot her as hard as you can, and then fucking leg it. Apart from that, good luck. I'll fucking see you at Mania. Once we return from that noisy drama, it's time to plug WrestleMania in the WWE Network, again. Backstage, Chris Jericho says he's going to expose Kevin Owens for the person that he really is, and he's going to do that on the highlight reel next week, with special guest, the real Kevin Owens. And then Jericho puts who he thinks is Tom Phillips on the list. Good last Nia, giving the crowd some shit whilst he's just about to have a plans backfire. And not much to this match either tonight. Jax doesn't break the corner count, the ref disqualifies her, and then she just launches against the barricade on the outside, leaving her on her ass. I guess she just wanted some revenge, and that was it really. Then we look forward to 205 Live with a fatal 5-way match, which looks really, really interesting, but I'm still not going to watch it. Next week, like we've just mentioned, the highlight reel with the real Kevin Owens as a special guest. And we've also, oh, for fuck's sake, we've got Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman once again. Hands up, anybody? Anybody care? No, old man full of steroids and a hard on at the back. Not you. Hands down. Oh, not your hand. Moving on. And the last segment tonight is Stephanie McMahon bringing out Mick Foley to do her dirty work. Foley comes out and says that he's had a real long hard think about it, and it's only been decided for about 10 minutes, but he don't know why he didn't think about it before, and a name just jumped off the list at him. Steph demands that he names the person, and he turns around and says that she's the only person that deserves to go. And then he pretty much just politely calls her a piece of shit when Triple H turns up. Triple H belittles Mick and tears his current gimmick to pieces, but Foley stands his ground and gets back in Triple H's face and argues his point. The crowd give them both the CM Punk chant, but Triple H just shouts through it. But then back to the storyline, he plays the I'll sack your kid's card to Foley, puts him in his place and sends him to piss off to the back. And then in a brief moment of insanity, Mick Foley gives Triple H Mr. Socko. And during this time, Stephanie McMahon gets ball envy and smacks Foley in his. And just when Triple H is about to kill Mick Foley for what he's done, Seth Rollins' music hits, which gets a massive pop, which I'm guessing is what they've wanted, because people haven't really been sympathetic towards Seth Rollins lately. Rollins makes it look like he needs that crutch that he's brought to the ring with him, but then he drops it outside, runs in, beats Triple H up a bit, chucks him outside, and thinks that's the end of the night. Triple H sees the crutch, brings it in, and just absolutely ruins Seth's leg, and he just paggers the shit out of it for about 10 minutes. Leaving us to assume that Seth's just not going to be anywhere near fit enough to be at WrestleMania this year. So yeah, yet another Raw ending with a non-match. Is this a wrestling show, or is it an advert for WrestleMania? Oh yeah, fucking hell. Not amused. And that's enough out of me for the time being. If you'd like to ask me questions or leave me abuse, I can be found on Twitter @BluntDamage. If you'd like to leave a comment with the video, you can follow the link in the description to the Botchamania site and do so there. And while you're on the Botchamania site, you can check out 10 quality years of Botchamania. Obviously, the entire backlog of my Raw Rant all the way back to my written pieces, Vinny's midweek wrestling write-ups, and a shit ton more great stuff to keep you busy on the site. Also, if you like my theme music, the band are The Colour Fire, they can be found at www.thecolourfire.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.